point that the players don't mind having the white pieces. Traditionally, you prefer to have the black pieces. The game is underway right here. We have liftoff, but because both players won with the white pieces, you're feeling pretty good about having the first move advantage.
Yeah, you've got a field situation needing to win with white, and he just needs to do it again. So both players, it's worth mentioning, noticeably higher bids than throughout the rest of the season. That's because we're playing over the board, so they want as much time as possible. But Fabiano needs to hold this draw under 10 minutes. And here we go. Game is off. And, OK, we'll get to it. But it looks like a Scotch game, a Scotch opening, and a rare guest at the top level.
Ooh. Yeah, I see the H-pawns already moved forward on the board. But I had to ask you, we saw the two players immediately placing their bids. Is that something that's thought of by by the players who are fighting it out here? That if it does get to the Armageddon, what are we going to put our clock times to?
I think it's entirely dependent on what just happened in the two games. Because if they had two solid draws, maybe they'd really prefer to have the black pieces, and that could change their bid. And, well, Maxime just won with white, so he clearly doesn't mind having the white pieces a second time. Now, this is a must-win game for Maxime. He just had a must-win game. It's more of the same for him. And for Fabi, he needs to hold. He failed to do that a game ago. So I think both players are familiar territory, including in this opening.
Yeah, and for our new audience, let's break down what the Armageddon rules are and what's happening right now. This is what their match has come to. This is the tiebreaker. Well, Fabiano Caruana, he starts with a little less than 10 minutes on the clock. Starts with the black pieces. He's got the result odds. Draw means he wins the match. Maxime, who bid higher on the clock, starts with 15 minutes and the white pieces, but has to win on demand. Until move 60, there is no increment. But after move 60, the players will get a 1 second increment. Right now, Maxime still keeping that clock advantage, continues to put the pressure on the board. And David, we see a big rook lift there.
Yeah, rook lift theme of the day, Robert. You mentioned it earlier. You tempted fate there. But either way, it's a really unorthodox opening. I think Maxime, in Armageddon chess, when you have white, there are various strategies available to you. Maxime has chosen one where he just surprises the opponent, goes really direct, creates chaos on the board, and hopes his extra time really pays off. That being said, this can backfire if your opponent is well prepared. This is a check from Fabiano, suddenly throwing his queen forward. White's king is hit. How do you block, or do you have to move the king? Big questions already. Black's king far safer than its counterpart.
What a weird opening we have seen here, because white has this A2 sandwich with the rooks and A1 and A3. You would love to throw that pawn off the board to double up your rooks on that line, but the king is in the center, and you just saw Maxime grab his head. He's like, what am I doing over here? I can't block this check by developing my bishop, because that drops a critical pawn that actually would lose a rook. So the king slides over. There's a black rook on d8 after the castle queenside. If that d7 pawn now disappears from the board, it's the white king that's in huge danger. I think Fabi's looking at this position like, oh, I must have a winning move, and he plays d5.
Oof, looks He needs a draw. This is getting close now. It's all about the clock. That's the only chance for white.
It's getting close to the pieces flying off the board territory right now. As we're about to touch the 1 minute mark and Fabi falls back with the bishop, the a-pawn advancing next. I'm expecting a3 on the board. He's got about 1 minute and 40 seconds and the clocks are really leveling out now. And Maxime, he's thinking too much.
It's been kind of perfection, though, from Fabi because he's, moved 44, and he spent almost no time. So all of these moves have been happening in a flurry. That's good news for Fabiano. And while he's winning completely on the board, he has plenty of time to get to move 60, and all he needs is the draw. It doesn't matter if the eval bar goes to equal if it means the game will conclude.
Yeah, he's keeping control. That's, again, the main thing. He's making his moves, his plans easy. And here we go. The black pawns are just marching 2 pawns up still. And if he can remove white's remaining pawns on the king side, even at the cost of his material advantage, that guarantees the draw. And Maxime Vachier Lagrave actually resigns.
Wow. And that's it. It was a double attack. Maxime Vachier Lagrave losing more material. He resigns and Fabiano Caruana wins a dramatic Armageddon, which he did make look easy with the black pieces from start to finish. Maxime coming under tremendous pressure right out of the opening. And Fabi doing everything right there as we see. The players are leaving the board and we're going to head over.